enjoy it. No, she's gonna. I bet she. Okay, I haven't looked at the next part. I just scrolled down a bit. I bet she stomps his foot, which, if he's wearing good shoes, is ineffective. But okay, so he's reached up. He's grabbed her by the waist. Probably not his best first choice, and he's covered her mouth. I can understand covering her mouth, but I'm just as tempted to give advice to the criminal as I am to Black Cat here. He should go for the neck and just kind of do like a rear naked choke, and that'll cover her mouth. That'll probably do the same as whatever his intent is. It is good to know what their intent is. Turn your head quickly to the left and pivot on your left foot. Swing the upper part of your body forward while slamming the edge of your left hand against his larynx. So this is the classic movie Judo chop. The impact will knock him down. Honestly, unlikely. So first of all, how does pivoting get him to release this arm around your waist? Really? If he's got a firm grip on you. This is why I wouldn't choose this as the grip. The covering the mouth I understand, but around the waist isn't very good. So she's pivoted so quickly and so strongly that he's released both his grips. If he had just grabbed her head, her mouth, and held it really firm, she wouldn't be able to turn 180 degrees because her neck would break. So that's sort of the first problem. So, and then also hitting his larynx. She's basically saying, like, judo chop his neck. It's unlikely to be effective. You're also unlikely to hit it accurately because you haven't seen the person. You don't know how tall he is or how short it is. So you might end up slapping him in the face. You might hit him in the temple. You might hit him in the shoulder. And then all of those mean nothing is going to happen. Like, you punch a guy in the shoulder. If his job is ruffian and criminal, it's unlikely you're going to hurt him that way. See, we got a finisher here. Before he can rise, grasp his legs with crossed hands, right hand on left ankle and vice versa, and turn him over onto his stomach. Let go of his left leg and grab his right foot in both hands. Step onto the hollow of his right knee with your right foot and bend his leg toward his head. This should make him behave. So she's saying, take this guy you've knocked down, roll him, grab his feet and roll him onto his stomach, which he is not resisted at all. Because you grab both my feet while I'm lying on my back and start twisting them, I'm going to start moving my feet. That's going to be the first issue you run across. And then this, as a final move, it's kind of like an ankle lock, knee brace thing. I guess would work, but again, I don't think you're going to get into that position from the beginning. I think that's going to be the biggest issue you got going on. All right, it's been 20 minutes. Let's do one more. Judo trick number 7. If someone grabs your hand and tries to... Oh, wait, actually, let's go back. What would I actually do in this position? So someone's got their hand around my waist and a hand over my mouth. I have both my hands free. I would step backwards in between his legs, probably grab he's wearing pants. I'd probably grab his pant legs and lift him up so that his feet lifted off the ground and push backwards so I land on top of him, intending to roll backwards and roll off, putting me actually in this weird position. Because if I'd rolled backwards and then I'm up by his head, then I could choke him from behind. Then he could do this judo trick and escape. Oh man, this is coming full circle. All right, but let's do number 7 and then we'll finish off. If someone grabs your hand and tries to pull you into a vehicle or a house against your will, here's what to do. So again, he's just grabbed her hand like he's shaking her hand. She's got her other hand is free and both her legs are free. She's actually in a pretty good position. He's wearing like pretty high, sexy boots there. That's pretty good. Wiggle 4 of your fingers out of his grasp. So you can see again, my issues are that the nature of what she's saying is like passing by how difficult, if he's got a stronger hand than you, if he's got a firm grasp, how is it so easy for you to wiggle your 4 fingers out of his grasp? I mean, why not use your free hand to grab his hand if this is what you're going to do? It makes a lot more sense. Wrap them around his thumb, push towards him and to the outside and force him down. So she's basically doing what's like considered a thumb lock and pushing his thumb backwards, down and into the ground. Again, only using one hand, not defending herself at all. If you started doing this to me, if you grab my thumb, I would punch you in the face. She has no defense on this side of her body at the moment. So he's not carrying a blackjack, I don't think, which is probably his first mistake. He could have just like smacked her in the face and been done with it. Him grabbing her hand is also not the best starter if I'm going to criticize our assailant's position. So she's like push him all the way to the ground using his thumb. Again, very unlikely. If it's that easy to wiggle your hands out of his grip, why is it so hard for him to wriggle his thumb out of yours? He has a hand free. He could grab your wrist and then like hold your wrist still and pull his thumb down, maybe dislocate his thumb, but now he's got his hand free. He's holding your wrist and he can start punching you in the face. Holding onto his thumb, place your right foot in the crook of his arm and inside and press his thumb towards his shoulder. He won't want to tangle with you again. I barely understand what this is. Again, he has a hand free, and instead of like grabbing her hand or punching at her or doing anything active, he's just going, oh, my thumb hurts. So I think the problem is a lot of these criminals, they're shut down by any instance of pain, which is sort of like what happens to bullies. You push back on a bully, and often they've never really been on the receiving end, so they can't take it. But these techniques are counting on a lot. Black Cat Judo Tricks Lesson 8. If someone should succeed in forcing you to the ground and attempt to strangle you, here's what you do. So at least he's in a better position. So the other guy was, from the last video, was actually at the head choking sort of backwards. This guy is at least choking forwards. You see how she's got her like hips up in the air and stuff? He could do that. He could put his knee on her waist and hold her down, or he could sit on top of her, straddle her, and that would be pretty... It would help a lot with his choking efforts. So swing your legs around his neck, right leg on his right shoulder, left leg on his left shoulder, and lock your legs right sole against left metatarsal. Okay, I understand what they're going for. And again, they're doing it almost correctly. So she's saying twist to the side and get your leg up over his head, and then get your other leg on the other side, and then interlock your heels. This is very close to being correct. She's grabbed both his wrists, it looks like. He's released, though. So for him, once she starts doing this, he should be choking even harder. That's, again, you should actually... she grabs the wrist first. Okay, she's done the right thing. I don't want to be like hypercritical where I'm saying stuff is incorrect when it is sort of correct. Apply pressure to your leg. Scissor and force him to the ground to one side. Hold him in this position while you use his left arm as a lever over your thigh until he's had enough. So this is almost an arm lock. This is called chunkmcbeefchest, which is the triangle choke. She's kind of done it right, to be honest. Her legs are in the right position, but too loose. This hand is free. She should take this hand, grab it, and pull it up over his own face so that he's discombobulated a little bit. And then this one, she should lock her knee in a little more. And you can do the arm lock at different... Either she should swing her leg up over so she gets full force on this arm, or she should be pulling that hand up and choking him instead. But basic premise for a comic book, this is pretty accurate. I'm going to give them full comic book marks for this. Real life, no. Comic book, this is pretty good. Still, you shouldn't be practicing this with your friends on a hard floor. Black Cat shows you how to do judo tricks, lesson 9. Sometimes it is necessary to vary a counterattack under certain circumstances in order for the trick to be successful. I agree. For instance, the previous lesson may offer you difficulties to a short person whose attacker is taller than he. Oh, therefore, in this lesson, I will show you how to still another way. I will show you still another way to do the same trick. And there's an asterisk. Since the success of judo depends largely on the swiftness of your counterattack, it is essential to know more than one procedure. This is also pretty good. Then, without waste of precious time, you can use the first that comes to mind. In future lessons, I will show additional ways to perform this and other tricks. She's right. If your opponent's shorter than you, heavier than you, taller than you, this actually will dictate what you can and cannot do successfully to your opponent. So we have another guy who's walked up to Black Cat and just starts choking her. This happens a lot. No one seems to hit each other very often, and that's probably because it's very hard to do judo when someone's punching you in the face. At least the black cat version of judo. The idea of judo is that you would get into a position where he wouldn't be able to punch you in the face. So that would be the thing. If I was a black belt in judo and I was fighting a boxer, I would want to be outside his range and then right up in his face so quick that he couldn't really hit me properly. And the boxer is thinking the exact opposite. He's like, I don't want that guy right up in my face. I want to close the distance so I can punch him in the head. And then it just comes down to skill, not which martial art is better or anything. It's just who is the more skilled tactician, because we're playing chess now. When the attacker grasps your throat, you can loosen his grip slightly by tightening your neck muscles or turning your head to a side. Tightening my neck muscles. I'm not 100% sure what that means. Turning to the side, maybe trying to get your shoulder up so he doesn't have the same sort of leverage down on you. That's not terrible. She's not doing anything with her hands though. You should get your hands up with his hands and try to like loosen that grip right away. This is where the thumb, pulling the thumb might actually work just to get his hand off. She's not stable though. She's like collapsing in her knees. So that's not a stable position. That's the first problem she's got. Pivot quickly on your left foot and bring your right arm over the upper part of his right arm and grab his right wrist with your right hand. This is almost right. It's overly complicated. It doesn't have to be. The pivot quickly means you are, again, so fast that he just releases his grip completely. So if she were to take one hand and then put this other hand on the same one and then pivot, she could probably push this hand off and then roll into his body, which would put her in this position. She's actually got her knees bent for the first time. That's pretty good. Twisting his wrist towards the right, bear down on his arm and throw him to the ground with the weight of your body. Bend his hand inward toward his shoulder and he'll be ready to call it quits. She's, again, very close. If she's in this position, she's got her armpit over his arm. She's got his wrist. She's got his wrist. She can grab it with both hands. If she put this leg back here, he would fall over her leg. And if she rolled that way, then he would hit the ground like he is in this picture. And she would be on the side like she is in this picture. So they're missing an element of, to really ensure this happens, he should be blocking that leg, because if he steps around here, that's going to be problematic. So she could block that, throw him over. He hits the ground like he is now. Again, wrist locks, if he rolls up on his shoulder, that might just break it right there. So I'm not a big fan of wrist locks in this situation. She should really wrap that up if she wants to wrist lock him properly. If he's hit hard enough, though, he might be unconscious, which is pretty cool. Judo tricks, lesson 10. If someone should aim a blow at you from above with his fists or a weapon, he's using a fucking sledgehammer. Break the force of the attack with both of your wrists with the back of your hand. I'm going to go ahead and say that this man is significantly stronger than Black Cat, unless she's had some super soldier serum or something that I'm unaware of. She could deflect this by pushing it to the side, but she's not going to be blocking it. Break the force of his attack. I think push it to the side so that it's not going to hit you in the head would be a good start. This is, I think, from the judo kata, which is the formal techniques. Quickly grasp his right ankle with your left hand. So she's doing the ankle pick again, which again, I think since he's trying to hit you with a sledgehammer might not be the best choice of defense against this. Quickly grasp his right ankle with your left hand. So she needs to get her hand from here down to there before he can actually properly like reorient himself to try to hit her or push her over or something. And I'm going to say good luck. They're too far away from each other. With your left hand, while pulling up his leg, jam your right knee into his groin. He will be thrown off balance and fall to his back. This is unnecessary. It actually puts you off balance. If you get his ankle in this position, you take this foot and you sweep inside his leg to the outside, and it will make him do a bit of a split, and he'll fall backwards. He'll be off balance. She's now completely ignoring his hands, but let's say, he's about to hit himself with the sledgehammer. That's pretty nice. Let's just go ahead and assume that the first part was successful and he doesn't have any leverage with this mallet anymore. Putting your leg on the top isn't as beneficial as it appears here. It'd be better to like continue, since you're lifting and he's falling backwards, to continue to push him backwards. Keep your knee on his groin while you allow his leg to slip into your left arm. Then gripping tightly, hold onto your right wrist with your left hand and pull the leg towards his chest. So this is like a pro wrestling move, which, again, I don't want to disparage pro wrestling, but I don't think you're going to get his knee straight up in the air like that effectively. If he bends his knee quickly enough, you're going to just be crooking his knee up. You're still going to be sitting on him, holding him down. But again, if this is a stronger opponent, I don't think you're in a great position. She should be aiming to do something else to actually immobilize him correctly or more effectively. Okay, Black Cat shows you how to do judo tricks, lesson 11. Someone should grab your right hand as if to shake it and then try to pull you into a place against your will and hold on to his hand. And again, is that how you, if you're going to grab someone and put them into a car or house, are you just going to grab their hand like you're shaking it? I don't think that's going to happen anyways. They're in a weird position. He's like grabbed her hand and is running forward, and she's like stumbling backwards. Whoa. Well, that's neat. She's doing like almost, anyways. Pivot on your right foot and swing his right arm over your shoulder. Bend quickly and throw him over your shoulder. As you do so, release his hand and hold on only to his wrist. So she's got her shoulder under his armpit. She could do, it's a very modern judo move where they go in almost backwards and throw over their back. She could do that. If she does the seonege, which is really what this move is supposed to be, the way she is now, he's going to flop around on the front unless she blocks his legs with her leg. So I think what's really going to happen is she's going to pull forward to throw him, and he's going to step in a circular motion around just to try to keep his balance, end up standing in front of her again. So then she should do a foot sweep and knock him backwards if she wants to be successful. In this, she could lift him off the ground and then roll backwards and get him to land on his back that way. Step on the crook of his elbow. She really likes stepping on crooks. Haha! He's a crook and it's the crook. Get it? Step in the crook of his elbow with your left foot and press his hand down towards his elbow. So again, she's doing a wrist lock. If you're standing over him like that, just put your foot on his throat. That would actually finish it, for being really honest. In order to avoid a damaging blow to your midriff with the attacker's head, so this is a football tackle directly into you, you must be quick and sidestep the charge, bringing your right arm around his neck at the same time. This, I'm going to go ahead and say, does not happen. People don't run at you with their own head trying to hit you in the stomach. People, if you're kind of doing judo, this happens all the time where people like duck down. If I'm doing something with a jiu-jitsu guy, they want to go to the ground. They'll get into this sort of position to get grab your ankles and pull you to the ground and stuff. So that's fair. It wouldn't be running at you, which is, I think they're going to be counting on the momentum. But realistically, no one would ever give you that kind of momentum. They might push down and forward, which, let's just pretend that's the move that's actually happening. So she's saying step to the side and right arm around the neck at the same time. So she's going, I think, for a reverse headlock kind of thing. That's not bad. Grip him securely around the neck, yes. Grasp his right wrist with his palm upward and place your right leg behind his leg. Okay. She's not doing what I would do. This, if you can get this position, would be great. So grabbing the head is good. I think you'll see what would actually happen. You get the arm, you just secure the head and then just lift upwards. If he's still running, he'll actually like help you push him up in the air, and then he'll be hanging in front of you by his neck. But she's going for what could be an awesome move. So she's got his head, she's got his arm, she gets his leg behind his leg. Judo, what you would do is sweep this leg upwards and he would land flat. The problem is your head is more forward, so you risk running your face into the ground. So that's why you wouldn't want to throw with his head in this position backwards. But she could actually throw backwards and release his head, and he would land on his back and she would still have his arm. And then you just hold the arm and start kicking his face. Stoop forward slightly and bring him to his knees while applying pressure to his arms across either of your legs above the knee. So again, this is fine. This feels like an Aikido move, which basically if he can get this leg up and then push upwards, he can kind of get back to his feet again, which to me is not secure. And then she would have to sweep anyways. If you're going to grab the head like this, you might as well go for the choke. I mean, that's just basics as far as I'm concerned. Black Cat shows you how to do simple judo tricks. Lesson 13. If someone should try to choke you or grab you, constant. This woman is constantly being grabbed and choked by the neck. This guy, his pants are way too high. He's wearing brown socks. I mean, he's got some color schemes going on that I appreciate. Okay, so this guy is lunged forward and grabbed her throat. She hasn't done anything where she's dealing with people punching you, which would be the more natural thing that happens in a fight, is people taking like haymakers. Like, so if someone throws a big haymaker, what do you do? If someone like clearly isn't very good at boxing and starts throwing wild punches, what do you do? So B, grab both his shoulders and place the sole of your left foot against the outside of the right foot below the knee. Pull his right shoulder down. Oh, I think she's doing it right. She's doing everything right but the finish. So this is, you block, I would do a little lower. Does she say? Below the knee. Okay, she's right. He's got very long legs. I do this from the ankle. And if you were not good at judo, you could actually just kind of push down and pivot him over that. But I do this throw. You grab sort of any sort of square thing. When we teach kids, it's turn the wheel of the bus. And then you just pivot to the side as you turn and then block his foot, and he'll roll right over, especially if he was lunging forward like this. That would be a pretty good move, because you can see what would happen is when this foot hits the ground, all his weight would be on that foot, stop motion completely, roll him over. This picture is quite good. Again, little far away. I would like her hips to be a little in deeper. I would put the foot a little lower, but this sort of turning motion is quite good. I think his suspenders have snapped. Being thrown off balance, he falls to the floor. As he does so, grab his right wrist with your left arm and force his left arm under his right arm, then press down with your left hand and lock him up. Again, this is sort of an Aikido thing. She's doing it from a full standing position. That's not a good idea. If you get his arms twisted over, you should like sit on him and he won't be able to move very much. He would have to be really, really strong to be able to get out of that. If you can get his arms crossed, and then push them down and then sit on him, your weight probably would be enough to keep him from moving, but he's going to wriggle back and forth, that kind of stuff. But I would say this is, again, for comic book level judo teaching, 10 out of 10. So we got 2 good ones so far.